Assalamu alaikum. Shalom, Islam to all the Moors. Give me 1 second, y'all. One moment. Second. All right, welcome to the free astrotheology course. I'm Dr. Yasapa. So we're back to regular scheduled programming. If you want to see the celestial ship of the North classes, you're going to have to go to our other YouTube channel called North, North, and if you don't see it, type in North and then Dr. Yasapa, Yasapa. If you still don't see it, type in Celestial Ship of the North. Okay, and it should come right up. Anyway, let's begin. Back to the astrology of the Old Testament, the lost word regained. So this is was published in 1892, and the author is Carl Anderson. All right, so there's a link to the free PDF in the description area of the video, and let's get started. So now, let me bring to your attention that this book is covering the solar zodiac projection. Okay, the solar zodiac projection. Give me 1 second here. And it's based upon the zodiac of Darrell-El, which is in Kemet, symbols used from the age of the Caesars. So from the age of the Caesars, okay, so the Caesars, that's Rome, right? And then it says Revelations, character 4. So let me show y'all this. Hold on. Give me 1 second. It's actually critically important to be able to understand the difference between the two zodiac projections. Okay, so the solar zodiac projection is not the first zodiac projection, and it's nowhere near as old or ancient as the first zodiac projection, which is the celestial ship of the North, or the Great Mother, or the circumpolar zodiac projection, which is the age of it is countless. No one can determine the actual age of it. That's how old it is. But this solar zodiac replaced through force of violence the Great Mother, or the celestial ship of the North. Okay, y'all? This is what replaced it, this zodiac projection. And they came into power. They deleted or erased the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, which was natural law, and the solar zodiac projection. So that would include the Hermetic Laws, the things that are unseen, and then the things that are seen, which would be physical things, and then of course natural phenomena that we experience with our senses. Okay, does everyone understand that? All right, so here's the source of this, of the zodiac for the entire book. All right, so here it is. Let me, hold on 1 second. Let me see if I should go over the, no, well, we're going to deal with with these right now. Also, I'm looking for someone or anyone who has the ability is invited to come on and teach the classes on chapter 14, or to teach chapter 14 classes in this book, which are the houses, the houses of the solar zodiac projection. It begins on page 172 and it ends on page 179. So if you have a knowledge of the houses and you can make yourself available. If you want to do it, contact me, reach out to me either in the comments or by email, and then you can come out, or come on rather, and teach the houses of the zodiac. So let me show it. Let me show you specifically what I'm talking about. Or if you know someone, ask them if they want to do it and have them contact me. All right. I only ask that if you do it, finish it. But if something comes up and you can't finish it, that's all right too. All right. So I'm going to begin on chapter 15. So let me show the chapter. Chapter 15 on page 180. The name of the chapter is Of the Signs and Meanings or Interpretations of the 12 Books. Of the Signs, Meanings, or Interpretations of the 12 Books. Man, this wide screen is hard to deal with. I thought I was able to take it off of that, but somehow or another it's back on. All right, y'all, so let me check the signal, and then we can get going. One moment. All right, mic check, mic check. All right, we got it. 1 second here. Let me respond to someone, y'all. One moment. All right. All right, y'all, so let's make it do what it do. Okay, page 180. Chapter 15 of the Signs and Meanings or Interpretations of the 12 Books. So each sign of the zodiac is in itself a volume of information, and to become expert in their significations is to become an expert astrologer. Hold on, y'all. All right, so here we go. So, all right. So they give signification of countries and localities. Okay, so you all take a look. All right, so signification, noun. Meaning or significance, especially of a word, the action or process of signifying, the act of signifying, a making known by signs or other means. So signification, sign, okay, signal, all right. Okay, so let's keep it going. So the signification of countries and localities, of height and measure. Now, how is it that knowing the meanings and interpretations of the 12 books, which are the 12 signs of the Zodiac, how do they give you understanding of countries? Countries are locations. Well, I don't know if he means countries or nation. I don't know in what sense he's using countries. But let's use the nation state. A place you can point to on the map is what I mean. And localities. So these are places you can point to on a map. In other words, you can get there by GPS. Right, you can get there by GPS. Well, how is that? Well, because remember longitude and latitude, right? Remember what CMB says? Let me show. Let me bring this back up, and this takes us right back to. I hope I brought it with me. This takes us right back to the Clock of Destiny, Volume 2, page 38, where it reads, these two positions of suns form the universal cross, which represents latitude north and south and longitude east and west. Do y'all see that? So let me show it. So here it is. That's what he's referencing. That's what this has reference to. Latitude and longitude, and of course, geometry. The geometry. Okay, so let's continue. So they give signification of countries and localities, of height and measurement. There we go, longitude and latitude, geometry, of speech and language, of occupation and profession. So of occupation and profession, this has reference to, let's go back to CMB. So remember our ancestors initially, before the corruption set in, our ancestors reckoned time, and of course we review well, if you watch the Celestial Ship of the North classes, if you watch those videos, what you're gonna find is reckoning time means reality, what reality is, okay? What is reality? Of course, reality are those things that you experience with your senses, right? But we, I think I went into it in greater detail. Something just came to my mind. Let me show it. I don't know why it came to my mind, but I'm gonna show it. Let me show you all this. Hold on. Did I pass it? Hold on, y'all. Hold on, I gotta go to a different place to get it. Do y'all see the star? Do y'all see that this is a circle? You see the star in the middle, that all of these other stars are circling around. This is a time delay or time captured or whatever they call this kind of photo. Okay? Do y'all see the star in the middle? This is the all-seeing eye. This is the original all-seeing eye. All right? So when you see the Masonic images, you'll see a eye above a cloud. This is the actual all-seeing eye. And what you're looking at right now is the celestial ship of the north, the celestial North Pole. All right, that's the original all-seeing eye. All right. So let me go back to what I wanted to show you. Give me 1 second. So this is on, we're going to begin with page 36 of volume, I think this is also volume 2. Yeah, page 36 of volume 2. The term Mason, Ma-Son, M-A, Ma, S-O-N, Son. The term Mason is derived from womb, man, son. Womb, man, woman, son. So this is a son who has a womb, right? So some sons have wombs, other sons don't. All right? So the term Mason is derived from womb, man, son, meaning woman and son. W-O, W-O. What does he mean, W-O? Is negative. W-O, I guess this is an acronym for womb, and man is positive. Okay, so celestially or hermetically, this would be the law of gender. Okay, the law of gender. Meaning the powers of the womb of female are responsible for the creation of sons in the course of 9 months, which makes women supreme master creators of both female and sons. From unformed matter planted by another son of a female. Y'all see where this is getting to, or what we're on the, what we have approached? Y'all see what we have approached? When you go back to the celestial ship of the north, you look at the mother, the great mother, the law of gender in its role of giving birth, okay, forming, reforming, producing, reproducing, transforming energy or consciousness from one form to another. This is what we're talking about. So who is the father of the woman? There is no father of the woman. She's fatherless. And who's the father of her son? He's also fatherless. So she is a widow. Okay, she's the widow. And the son is a fatherless child. Do y'all see it? So now, how is this reconciled in religion? this was remixed into a religion. And it has everything to do with the solar zodiac projection. Absolutely everything to do with the zodiac projection. And it's incestuous when you look at this in terms, if you look at this through the lens of physical men and women. Okay, but it's an obvious metaphor and an allegory, and it makes absolute sense when you look at this celestially, and you know that you're just dealing with energy. Okay, you're just dealing with energy, hermetic gender. Okay, so what's happening? Oh, wow. I thought we were, well, big storm. Oh well. Anyway, so what's happening here? What's happening here? Here's how the story goes. The sun, this is celestially, not dealing with flesh and blood. Celestially, the sun becomes a consort of his own mother. Y'all should see where this is going already, right? The son becomes a consort of his own mother, and then they produce a baby. And I don't remember if the story is the baby is him or another child. I don't remember right at this moment. It's not clear in my mind. But that story is remixed. So basically what this is saying, and this may not even be true. This may be something that the religionists, the Jeremiah 8:8 scribes who wrote lies in the book of the law, they may have edited this into the story. I don't know, because it's not needed. That's why I say they may have edited, because celestially it's not needed. The mother does not need a consort to produce a son or a daughter. No consort is needed. In fact, the first son celestially is Sut, C-U-T. I'm sorry, S-U-T. And he's fatherless. But the Great Bear, etc., the initial physical things that the Great Mother, who is the celestial ship of the north, Hathor, the Great Mother Nature, etc., her initial formations, in religion y'all would say creation, were feminine. But remember, it's celestial, not fleshly, so therefore it's feminine in terms of feminine energy, as in positive and negative energy, masculine and feminine energy, anode and cathode. Y'all see it? So it's not necessary for the Great Mother to have a husband. And remember that the law of gender, the Hermetic law of gender, is energy having opposite characteristics. They're polar opposites at the edges. Okay, so the extremity here is positive and the extremity here is negative. Y'all follow? And in the middle, it has to be neutral. Y'all see it? So that's what's happening with that. But for whatever reason, I don't know if this is accurate or if it's an edit, like I said, the sun becomes a consort, or in the Roman conception of the world, the son becomes the husband of his own mother, right? As a matter, should I go back and find that? No, I'll do a video, because that needs a video of its own, unless it appears in front of me. So the son becomes the husband of his own mother and produce offspring. Now the father, who is the son, becomes more important than the mother. under the solar zodiac projection. Do y'all see it? So that's remixed into religion as the Father, the Son, okay, or as the Trinity. Y'all got it? That's how the Trinity comes in, okay? So the Father, who is really the Son, Sut, is elevated to a position higher than his mother in religion. And this is where it shifts, and I'm going to always say that it shifts through violence. It shifts from initially mother and son to father and son. So in the initial, in the first zodiac projection, which is the celestial ship of the north, let me show y'all this. So if y'all want to learn this information, you should go to North YouTube channel and subscribe, all right, and watch those classes. So here it is, the celestial ship of the north, all right. So it was the Osirians, the followers of Osiris, Isis, and Horus, who said, wait a minute, we're not dealing with the mother and son anymore. That's finished, right? We got problems with that. It doesn't fit our worldview. So we're going to shift it to father and son. Everybody see that? That happened around 4,000, between 4,000, according to their story, 4,000 to 4,500 BCE, under the reign of Menes, who is the first human pharaoh. So you got to keep in mind that human is a contracted spelling or contracted form of Han-Uman, the half man, half monkey created creature from Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27. All right, y'all? Give me 1 second. So actually in the devil's pulpit gives if my memory serves me correctly, gives a better discussion about the incest that I was just talking about. See, when you look at this phenomena of the son, Sut, becoming his father, when you look at that, when you look at the solution, when you look at it celestially, it makes sense. Even though it's not needed, you can understand it, right? Because it's just dealing with energy. But when you apply it to flesh and blood, it becomes incestuous, right? It becomes something that's immoral and disgusting. So they hide it and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want the masses to know, all right? I'm trying to find it. I know it's somewhere close by, but I'm going to do a one pass over. If I don't see it, we'll skip it. I think I found it. Hold on, y'all. So let me give this to you, to everyone, but specifically to Hebrew Israelites, religious, and non-religious. Okay, hold on a second. So religious and non-religious. Okay, y'all. This is on page 22. Page 22 of the Celestial Ship of the North. And I just want to show this in case, for those of you who may have 1 foot in religion and 1 foot out. 1 foot on a banana peel and the other one on solid ground. Okay, or those of you who are Hebrew Israelites by nationality, by bloodline. There's a big difference between the two. Okay, and I'm not talking about the Hebrew Israelites who pretend it's about nationality and they still push and are devoted to a religious belief system. So this is on page 22 of the Celestial Ship of the North, published in 1927 by Ellen Valencia Stratton. Here's what it says. The mythology of Israel begins. The mythology of Israel begins. As we see. Now remember, the author defined mythology for us in our last class, which is over on our YouTube channel, North. Mythology is a teaching tool that conveys facts. Okay, that's it. Teaching tool that conveys facts. All right. He continues, as we see with the cult of Hova. So you'll find out about Hova, which is the feminine side of Jehovah, of the Tetragrammaton of Yahoo. Read about that on page 21. And this is why they say that I'm talking about the Jewish people, say that the divine name, YHWH, is too holy to pronounce. So you need to say Adonai or Adon or whatever. You read about that at Hebrews H30:68. They don't want you to know its initial presentation is feminine. And you would know that it's feminine by the way it's spelled. And of course, its history. All right, because it's a remix of the Great Mother. And the Great Mother is feminine. All right? And remember, we're not talking about flesh and blood. We're talking about a Hermetic law of gender that's been remixed into a religious history or real story. Okay, y'all? So anyway, let's keep it going. With the cult of Hova, and y'all look up Hova in your Strong's dictionary, in your Strong's lexicon. Look that up, okay? You'll be surprised at what you will find. All right? So with the cult of Hova, who was Eve, the Typhonian mother of Sut. Did y'all get that? The mythology of Israel begins, as we see, with the cult of Hova, who was Eve, the Typhonian mother of Sut. So Eve is Typhon, who is the great mother, who is the great mother nature, who is the Egyptian or Kemetic Hathor, feminine woman. Y'all want to see that? Also called Seth. The serpent belongs to an early representation of the mother. So the mother, the Celestial Ship of the North, Hathor, Eve, Typhon, was presented as a serpent, not something evil. The evil and wickedness, the devil, comes from a remix, okay? Now let's continue. And followed the time when she was known by the type of the hippopotamus. Okay, so initially she was represented as a hippopotamus because of the hippo has 4 feet representing the 4 corners, north, south, east, and west. Or today, well, in the solar zodiac projection, it's the summer and winter solstice, that line, and then the equinoctial lines, okay, the vernal or spring and fall equinoxes. Now it continues and coincides. Now listen, it coincides. It coincides with the change in Israel from the worship of the north. What is he talking about, the worship of the north? He's talking about the time when the house of Yasharallah looked to the celestial ship of the north. In other words, reckon time by the circumpolar zodiac projection. Which is the same thing as saying when their reality was based on the Hermetic laws and natural phenomena, period. Period. Natural law. So in my classes that I teach on Saturdays for years now, the essence of the commandments, in religion they say the 10 commandments, the essence of the commandments is don't harm anyone or do no harm. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Let me show y'all. Hold on. Give me 1 second. One second, y'all. One second, y'all. So this is very, very interesting. Now remember, our ancestors were to look to the north. Look to the north. Okay, now what's in the north? I talked about earlier. The all-seeing eye, right? The celestial ship of the north. Now y'all, look at this. What do you read here? What do you read here? Harvard Health Publishing. Harvard Health Blog. First, do no harm. Well, this is the essence. Well, that is natural law. That's natural law, believe it or not. This is the essence of what y'all call the Ten Commandments in religion today. Do no harm. Do no harm. Okay, and do you see it's written in the negative? Y'all see that? It's written in the negative. Do no harm. Okay, no is negative, right? As an important step in becoming a doctor, medical students take the Hippocratic Oath. I know I had to take it. And one of the premises within that oath is, quote unquote, first, do no harm. So y'all take a look at that. This is natural law. As Napoleon Hill said, it's the warp and the whoop. That's natural law. That's the Ten Commandments. The essence of it. And notice this, y'all. The article goes on to say, well, let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. But that's my point. Natural law, the Ten Commandments, they're the same. Do no harm. Don't injure, don't harm someone. Or don't do something that's going to lead to an injury or harm to anyone, including yourself. This is natural law. Period. It's so simple, period. I hope everyone sees that. So, listen, let's go back to it. Let's go back to it. And coincides with the change in Israel, Isis, Ra, and El. Ra is a solar deity. El is a solar deity, also Saturn. All right, now let's continue. From the worship of the north and the stars to that instituted by Moses in the wilderness. So wait a minute, there was a shift of mindset. There was a shift of mindset from the celestial ship of the north to the solar zodiac projection. Let me state it again. There was a shift of mindset from looking to the north, the circumpolar zodiac, the all-seeing eye, and the north, which would have been what, y'all? Polaris, the pole star, okay? And the Great Bear. Do y'all see it? But Polaris is the all-seeing eye. I'm talking about the celestial ship of the north. All of the 7 constellations in the circumpolar region, they all rotate around Polaris. Okay, that's why Polaris is said to be the eye, the all-seeing eye, because it doesn't seem to move. Okay, and when you look at the time-lapse photo, the eye is just sitting there. The pupil of the eye is just sitting there looking at you. Okay, y'all? So the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers was changed from that, when we needed a solution, problem or not a problem, when we needed a solution, when we wanted something, we looked to the north. That makes total sense, because what are we? We're our mother's son. We're thought made manifest from the soil. Okay? We have our origin celestially in the Great Bear, today called the Big Dipper. So we look to our true self in the north, because we are cosmically connected. And like C. and Bay says on page 38 of the Clock of Destiny, the Clock of Destiny is that boundary around which our ancestors drew. Remember the boundary around the great abyss that's boundless? And they called the minute hand the Great Bear, which today is the Big Dipper, and the hour hand in the south, Sirius. So now we have the Clock of Destiny, and that was, of course, with the evolutions or revolutions rather of the pole constellations going around Polaris, the pole star. This was the beginning of time in terms of the creation of the construct of time. The construct of time. Time is a mental construct. Okay? We kept time in cycles, revolutions, cycles around the pole star. All right? So I hope it's clear. So that mindset was changed through violence to the mindset that exists today, which is the solar zodiac projection, right? The solar zodiac projection, or what do they call it? The solar, the solar system. Sol, sun, the solar system. So now the sun, the S-U-N sun, who is the father, that is masculine, is the center of everything. Y'all see it? Whereas our mindset before, the North Pole, the celestial North Pole, was the center of everything. So this is two totally different concepts of reality. I hope y'all can see it. But anyway, this is what the author is talking about. So it coincides with the change in Israel. Isis, who is Isis? Isis is Venus. Venus is the great mother, Hathor. So do y'all see the remix? Venus is the great mother. All right? And coincides with the change in Isis, Ra, and El from the worship of the north and the stars to that instituted by Moses in the wilderness. What was instituted by Moses in the wilderness? Well, Moses led the people into Aries, or the solar zodiac projection. Do y'all see it? Does everyone see that? Moses led the Israelites into the solar zodiac projection. In other words, Moses led the people into the mindset of the sun being the center of the universe, and to look to the sun to solve your problems. In other words, pray to an external God to solve your problems. Pray to an external God to solve your problems. A Trinity. Okay, pray to JC, pray to the Tetragrammaton to solve your problems. Whereas in the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, the celestial ship of the north, you look to yourself to solve your problems. Okay, so the perception of reality and the action that we took was totally different, or are totally different in these two mindsets. So let me say it again, because I would like everyone to remember this. The mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers is synonymous with the celestial ship of the north. Okay? The toxic mindset is synonymous with the solar zodiac projection. That might be offensive to a lot of people. But you can see, I didn't make it up. I didn't make it up. I'm reading it right here. In 1 second, y'all. Okay, y'all. All right. So these are the two mindsets. Now remember, C.M. Bay tells us in Volume 2 of The Clock of Destiny, he tells us that when Hiram Abiff is lying down on his side, his head is in Aries, which is the Lamb of God. He is in a dead state. So, civilly dead. And his feet are in the scales. So, justice is being executed upon him. This coincides with Deuteronomy chapter 28. He's in a dead state, right? He has no inheritance. He's a stateless person. He's a refugee. All right? Does everyone see it? This is the result of having your mindset in the solar zodiac projection, the template of all solar religions. Okay? And they were written all at the same time. You can believe that. Okay? And it wasn't something that happened in there was no evolution involved. No, it was through violence and disgrace that the mindset shifted. All right? The author tells us that. Now let's continue. Quote unquote. And the manna fed to the children of the wilderness is emblematic of feminine reckoning and rule. Feminine reckoning and rule, and the angels' food supplied by the genetrix, this would be the Great Mother, from the gynecology, from the gynoeceum above to the children below. Well, let's look up reckoning, see if we have anything interesting. Okay, reckoning, the act of counting or computing. Reckoning noun, the act of counting or computing. An itemized bill or statement of a sum due. Then that's interesting. The itemized bill of a statement or sum due. I have to give that some thought. Y'all, you probably know what I'm already thinking, right? A settlement of accounts. Very interesting, a settlement of account. Y'all know what I'm thinking, bills of attainder, bills of pains and suffering, bills of attainder. This is what I'm thinking. Let me go back here. It says, and the manna fed to the children of the wilderness, the house of Yasharallah, is emblematic, when I say that I mean the Moors, right? Is emblematic of feminine reckoning. Feminine reckoning. Of feminine counting or computing, a feminine itemized bill or statement of sum due, an itemized bill or statement or sum due. Oh, you know what that could be? That could be the Hermetic law of cause and effect, right? If you're out of harmony with the Most High's commandments, let me restate it. For every cause, there's an effect, and for every effect, there is an underlying cause. It's one of the Hermetic laws. Okay? So that would be consistent with the Moor's feet being in the West, in Libra, the scales of justice, right? Where the Moor is weighed, and at the level of a nation, at the level of a man, and at the level of a nation, the Moor is put in the balance to see if he individually and they as a nation have been keeping the Most High's commandments, or stated differently, are living in harmony with natural law, which is to do no harm. Don't injure anyone, and don't do anything that would lead to injury or harm. Y'all follow that? Maybe that's what it's talking about. And they were found what? Out of harmony, our ancestors, and us now, out of harmony with nature. In other words, we are harming, doing things that cause immediate or future harm to others and ourselves. So therefore, we are in the curses. Deuteronomy chapter 28, 15 through 68. I hope everyone sees that. Let's look at one more dictionary. So smart vocabulary. So we're in Cambridge.org. It says related words or phrases, algebraic. So we're dealing with the math, and latitude, longitude again, right, y'all? Algo, algorithmic, amount, calculate, integration, interpolation, inverse function. That's interesting. Line equation, mathematical, matrix. Matrix. Matrix is the same as genetrics. Genetriz. Operator, miscount, sum total. Triangulate. Triangulate or work something out. 1 second, y'all. Let me try to get this again. Triangulate, to divide an area into triangles. There's a geometry. In order to measure it, latitude and longitude, location of a specific point on a map. To divide an area into triangles in order to measure it or draw a map of it. I hope everyone sees why it's so important to look words up. Have the discipline to look words up. Hold on, y'all. Let me show it again. There you are. Everyone see that? I hope it's clear. Angle of incidence. So do you see the navigation here? Our ancestors used the north celestial pole to navigate. Literally to navigate on the oceans and on land. So other words, angle or incidence, angularity, angles, right? Diagonal, gradient. And it goes on and on and on and on, okay? So let's leave it there. Well, let's do this one. Here's another definition. To calculate positions and distances using triangles. So we're talking about geometry and navigation, latitude and longitude, locating a specific point on a map, okay? Where some information about the length of sizes and size of angle is known, okay? And our ancestors had tools to make those determinations. So let's go back. Quote unquote, we're on page 22. And the manna fed to the children of the wilderness is emblematic of feminine reckoning and rule. And the angel's food supplied by the genetrix from the gynoeceum above, this would be the great mother, okay, the great bear, today the Big Dipper, to the children below. So this is indirectly saying that they were given some knowledge, some astrological knowledge. Here's the next quote. Well, here it is. Man did eat angels' food. This is coming from Psalms. It looks like 48:25. Either that or I'll show it. It's in Roman numerals and I don't remember. Did I write it? I don't know why I always forget what the L in front of the X I think is 40 if I remember correctly. If not, it might be 50 or 60. Okay? So man did eat angels' food. That's where it's talking about the manna. Okay? Which was the bread of the mighty, meaning that celestial knowledge was originated at this northern point in the heavens. Remember, the northern point, the north celestial pole region, is the place of beginnings. In other words, the place where energy is transformed, is made manifest, is transformed from one form to another. So all of that to say is that the house of Yasharallah, or Israel, or the Israelites, had the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. Period. Period. And then that mindset was changed. Well, this makes sense, right? Because why? Moses was schooled in all the ways of the Egyptians. So during Moses, what was it, 40 years or so, being educated in Kemet, he learned about both mindsets. And he decided to push the solar zodiac mindset. Okay, at least according to the story. Now, is this actually what happened, or is it an edit? Well, I wasn't there. I don't know. It could be an edit that they did that, right? To give credibility to the solar zodiac projection. I don't know. I wasn't there. But let's just keep making it do what it do. I'll be right back, y'all. Give me 1 second. All right, y'all, I'm back. Where were we? Okay, so anyway, let's keep it going. One second. Let me see if I can find. That's not really what I wanted to show y'all. If you want to know more about the takeover, about the change, the violent change from from the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers to the solar Zodiac projection mindset, y'all look at page 24, okay? But give me 1 second. I want to, if I don't see it on this pass, then I'll just move on. Well, let me just add this in on page 16. Knowledge of celestial, hold on. I almost forgot. I need to show you the page. So this is page 22. This is page 22, what I just read from, the paragraph here. Okay? So y'all pause it on the replay. Okay, y'all, here's further evidence on page 16, the second paragraph. Knowledge of celestial time was attributed to typhoon. So this is the initial mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, how they reckon time. So that whole knowledge base was given to us by the great mother Typhoon, goddess mother of the Great Bear. The Great Bear is the Big Dipper today. And by the way, scholars, you know the position of the Great Bear during each season is where the swastika, the initial swastika, has its origin. Okay, so the Big Dipper in the winter, in the spring, summer, fall, and winter, it forms a cross, right? So that's where the swastika comes from. According to our ancient ancestors, it was something very good, representing the Great Mother at its position celestially during each season of the year, okay? So it had to be what? Oriented in the north. So that would be North America. Actually, northwest of Mexico. All right, so let's continue. And to her son, Soot, the dog star, when she, that's the Great Mother Typhoon, made her first circle around the North Pole. 7 constellations at the North Pole. This is circle 7. Circle 7, the Great Mother being a part of that, the beginnings, the mother of beginnings, the birth of beginnings in time. Okay, y'all? At the rising of the dog star in the south, the first year or cycle of time was accomplished. So this is what the author was referring to on page 22. The mythology of Israel begins, as we see, with the cult of Hova, who was Eve, the Typhonian mother of Sut, also called Set. The serpent belongs to an earlier representation, on and on and on, which coincides with the time, with the change in Israel from the worship of the north and the stars. That's what it's referring to, okay? So now let's continue. Of which Sut was made the announcer. So Sut is made the announcer of time. The footnote reads, every race, tribe, and cult of olden time has had its traditions of the early 7 stars in the Big Dipper. And everywhere can be found myths of the quote-unquote the woman and her dog. That would be Sirius, Sut, the dog star. The woman and her dog, Typhoon, and the dog star, and the divisions of light and darkness. The divisions of light and darkness, and the solar zodiac projection, the dark priesthood. Jeremiah 8, verse 8. They made the darkness into something evil and wicked. Okay? And they related night and darkness to evil, to wickedness, and then they wove that into their doctrine of the solar zodiac, the fall and the winter months. Okay, y'all? This is the point I wanted you all to hear. This is my point of reading this paragraph. Only an upper and lower heaven were given at this point. It was before the 4 corners or cardinal points, that's north, south, east, and west. That would be the solstitial lines, winter and summer solstices, and the equinoctial points, the spring and fall equinox. It was before that. It was before the 4 corners or cardinal points had been represented. They were not they were known, but they were not represented as significant in the circumpolar zodiac projection. In other words, we weren't telling time by the position of the sun along the ecliptic. Do y'all see it? Everybody sees that? Do you know your perception of time has a lot to do with how fast you age, what you do in your life, your level of stress? If you feel like you don't have time and you got things to do, well, that's stressful. Your perception of time is critically important. But anyway, we're talking about reality too, okay? We went over that, I think, in the last class or two. So go to North and subscribe on YouTube and then watch that video. He continues. It was before the 4 corners or cardinal points had been represented and before the equinoxes and solstices had been established. Do y'all see that? So if there were no cardinal points, no winter solstice, no summer solstice, no vernal equinox, no fall equinox, then that means there was no what? There was no ta. There was no ta cross. Do y'all see it? And the Greeks call it tau. There was no ta. With the bull, Taurus the bull, right? Taurus the bull. Ta, the ta cross is important because the bull over here, this would be the age of Taurus the bull, or the age of Apis. Then what, y'all? The next is the age of the lion. These ages lasting roughly 2,300 years or so. Somewhere 2,000, maybe I don't remember the exact number for some reason. But a zodiacal age. Of course, so the age of Taurus, then the age of Leo the lion, and then the age of Scorpio, represented as an eagle, and then of course the age of Aquarius, the man. So it was before that. So why is that important? Well, because if you track back, you can track back to Apis, or the age of Taurus. Okay, you can track back to the age of Taurus. All right? So this is when the cows were being sacrificed and all of that. So hold on. Hold on, y'all. So anyway, it's a way to keep time, right? We can trace back the zodiacal ages, but I'm not going to go into a lot on that. But as you see, it is very clear that the ancient Israelites, the house of Yasharallah, kept time, they reckoned time by the great mother Typhoon, who is feminine. Who is feminine. Okay, now this makes sense, right? When you look at the whole tetragrammaton or Jehovah thing initially being feminine, the whole aspect is feminine. Makes total sense, right? Now you understand that. Okay, so let's keep it moving. So let me go back to CM Bay, and then we'll go back to the astrology of the Old Testament. All right, so CM Bay, Volume 2, Clock of Destiny, page 36. The term Mason is derived from womb, man, sun. So two sons, one has a womb, one does not, of course, and the woman, which is Typhoon, the great mother. So the term Mason is derived from womb, man, sun, meaning woman and son. Remember the sun, some have a womb, others don't have a womb. Okay? W-O, woe, is negative, womb. And man, M-A-N, is positive, meaning the powers of the womb of female are responsible. Now, do you see he said the powers. The powers. Power means ability to act. The powers of the womb of female are responsible for the creation of sons in the course of 9 months. He said the powers. So we're talking about the underlying powers that govern what makes a baby. So now again, y'all, we're talking about energy. All right, which makes women supreme master creators of both female and sons from unformed matter planted by another son of a female. Woe or womb was struck out, and an N was struck out, leaving Ma. I'm going to show y'all this, okay? All right. And the N was struck out, leaving Ma. Phrased with son, which spells Ma son. Thus, woman, sons, and child Reproduction comprised the great triangle, the great triangle, three in one, thus woman, sons, and child. Reproduction, woman, sons, and child. Reproduction comprise the great triangle, 3 in 1. Is what we just talked about, right? Remember, the mother gives birth to a son. The son becomes her consort, or her husband, as they would say today, and produces another son, or produces another child. If you look at that as flesh and blood, that's incestuous, that's highly immoral. In fact, it's disgusting, right? It's disgusting for a son to have sexual relations with his mother. It's immoral. It's incest. But this is what they're teaching in religion. If y'all go study this stuff, go read The Devil's Pulpit by Robert Taylor. And he gives a good, if y'all know Robert Taylor, if you read his work, he talk about you like a dog and make you laugh. So y'all go read that in The Devil's Pulpit, okay? He gives a good job. He does a good job of giving it the proper perspective, okay? And it's really disgraceful. But anyway, he continues. So it's the great triangle of universal supreme creation of humanity. Woman has no father. There we are, see? Woman has no father. The great mother Typhon has no father. As above, so below. As below, so above. The Hermetic Law of Correspondence. The woman has no father and neither husband. Now, if you look at this from a flesh and blood point of view, this makes absolutely no sense. But when you look at this from a celestial point of view in terms of the Hermetic Laws, where we're dealing with energy, specifically the great law of gender, okay? And gender in its function of forming and reforming or transforming energy into one form or another according to the laws of thermodynamics. One, energy can never be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. Consciousness is energy. Consciousness is the mind. Consciousness is all. The mind is all there is. The other 6 Hermetic laws emanate or have their origin from mind, mentalism, the all. Right? Everyone remember that? Everyone remember that? So now this makes perfect sense, because these are the Hermetic laws are the underlying principles or laws that govern everything in the universe, tangible and intangible. So now it makes perfect sense, right? We're talking metaphorically. Woman has no father and neither husband, for all male sprung from her. Where woman comes from, no one knows. This makes her a widow. This makes her a widow, okay? And this is why we can ask the question, is there any mercy or is there any peace for the widow's son? So there's one more thing in here I want to show you. I think it might be in volume 1. Let me check it. I think it's volume 1. So I want to go to the lunar months. To the lunar zodiac, because that's what we're dealing with also. It's Clock of Destiny, volume 1. Beginning on page 25. I'm only going to read the title. The intellectual zodiac, the interpretation of the moon. The interpretation of the moon in the 12 signs. 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 books. Take time out, study for yourself. Hold on, y'all, one moment. One moment. Okay, so now keep in mind, well, let me read this. Let me just read this. The intellectual zodiac, the interpretation of the moon in the 12 signs. The 12 signs or the 12 zodiac signs are the 12 books that we're dealing with in chapter 15 of the signs and meanings or interpretations of the 12 books. Now here's what C.M. Bay tells us. Bear in mind that interpretation of the moon passing through the 12 signs applies to daily activities as well as birth. Applies to daily activities as well as birth. The interpretation of the moon in each sign is also as important to woman as the interpretation of the S-U-N sun. This is page 25. So this starts on page 25. Can everybody see that? Hope everyone can see the connection. Now this might surprise some people, what I'm about to say. But the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, we told time, remember? We told time by the stars, initially. And then later, it was by the moon. So there was a change. There was a subtle change. And from my point of view, that marked the beginning of our downfall, because we went from what we had been doing for an uncountable span of time, and then all of a sudden we add the moon and we start telling time instead of by the stars in the circumpolar regions, North and South Pole, right? The Great Bear, today is the Big Dipper, is the minute hand, and Soot, the dog star in the south, was the hour hand, and we put a boundary around that which was boundless. That's what our ancestors did to create time. Okay, we covered that already. The author presented that, we covered it. But then we deviated from that and added the moon. And that's not to say that the moon is wrong. I'm saying we deviated from the instructions and from the traditions and cultures of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. We started reckoning time differently, though obviously we did not totally disrespect the Great Mother, our ancestors. But it marked a beginning of a change or a deterioration, which ultimately led to the total abandonment of the celestial ship of the North, the total abandonment of the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, which is the which is the circumpolar zodiac projection, which is circle 7 and clock of destiny. Totally abandoned it. At least the Osirians and others like that, okay? Totally abandoned it and attacked it. Until now, almost nobody knows it. And for those who do know it, they don't know the context or the origin or its significance. Do y'all see it? So give me 1 second. Let me check the comments, y'all. And then we're gonna go back into chapter 15 on page 180. Give me 1 second. I gotta go to the YouTube channel and read the comments real quickly. All right, so Lotus Flower L writes, physical reincarnation seems to be the issue. Some folks are stuck on that wheel of time, while others have a way of escape. Once womb man take their Stargate back, things will be different. Indeed, indeed, absolutely, absolutely. Because what we have to keep in mind, and I'm glad you brought it up, what we have to keep in mind is that when we are out of harmony with nature, in other words, when we're not, religiously speaking, when we don't follow the Most High's commandments, when we do things that lead in the short term or long term to injury or harm, it affects not only us, but everybody in our bloodline. Because it affects mass consciousness. It affects mass consciousness. So everybody these days are familiar with manifesting. So we as a people, as a mass conscious, let's say a body of mass consciousness, will manifest our consciousness. So excellent point. And the thing to keep in mind that gives me comfort is we don't need everybody. There's a phenomena called the 99th or the 100th monkey principle. All you need is a percentage of a population to adopt a behavior, a mind. So what's the behavior? Not harming anyone, including yourself. Okay? In other words, knowing natural law. You know natural law. You know you shouldn't harm anyone, so you don't harm anyone, not even yourself. We just need a critical mass of people to follow that. So in other words, we need to change the mindset of our people back to the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, which is the celestial ship of the north, where we followed natural law. We didn't injure people. We didn't have to write all of these laws and rules, and we didn't have to do that. Everyone knew. Okay, that's why we didn't have to have these governments. We have what, y'all? Even for the hybrid, we put in a representative form of government for them, where you govern yourself, you govern your own mental, which is in harmony with natural law, right? Which is in harmony of natural law. And then the other point I wanted to make about what you said that caused me to think, if I can get the thought back, hold on. Physical, so Lotus Flower L writes, the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers was that we come back. We are eternal. We are eternal. The physical body expires, but one's consciousness will either come back to the earth plane, or who knows what they thought, right? But we don't die. And they understood that. But when the Osirians came in and had success and set up these kingdoms, these pharaohs, who are hybrid, and they, through violence, shifted our mindset to the solar zodiac projection, okay? With a 24-hour time, 60 seconds to a minute, right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, 60 minutes to an hour, et cetera. So with a focus on time, and the huge shift of, instead of doing things for ourselves and not harming anyone, you look for external deity to do things for you. And instead of you living harmonic with nature and not harming anyone, You adhere to a dogmatic belief system, which can harm people. You know, one of the most tragic, harmful doctrines that there is. I used to be involved in a religion where they would disfellowship people, kick you out. And families and friends were not allowed to talk to you. They had to totally cut you off. So someone who, for whatever reason, decided to leave the religion, or let's say got kicked out, they disfellowship you. Now you lose relationships with your whole family and your whole social network. And the congregation was taught, this is a doctrine. Well, the reason why we do that is so that they can see the wrong that they did and correct their wrong, right? Have a desire to correct their wrong and come back and not do it again. Well, that sounds pretty good, right? All right, oh, that's logical, that's reasonable, right? It's done to help them. Okay, they miss their parents, they miss their family, they miss their friends. So it's going to give them an incentive to think about what they have done and, you know, to repent and come back. Well, that's a violation of natural law, because that inflicts extreme mental anguish, extreme injury and harm on someone psychologically, also on their reputation. So that's a very serious injury, and I just found out about a week ago that religious organization, they're Christians, they had to stop doing that. They changed their doctrine because governments around the world started to say it was inhumane. So in order to save money from court cases that would follow, they changed their doctrine. And of course they made up a BS reason to explain it, but it was all about fiat, y'all. Okay, so this is how a dogmatic religion can set a whole, or can set millions of people out of harmony with nature. All right, y'all see? This is Hiram Abiv lying down dead in a shallow grave with his head in the east gate, which is the Lamb of God, which is Aries, in religion, which is JC, the Christ figure. Okay, and his feet over in the west, which is Libra, which is Ma'at, the scales of justice, where he is punished. What does it mean, punished? It means where that more is given signals to change his behavior. And those signals hurt, that communication hurts. You lose your nationality. You become non-descendable. Okay? All of these things is communication to get you to think about what you're doing and realign yourself with natural law. Live harmonically with natural law. In other words, get out of religion and stand up erect so that your feet are in the south celestial pole, standing on principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The highest principles of the universe, which at their essence is what, y'all? Do no harm. Don't harm anyone, including yourself. And don't do anything that will lead to future harm or injury. And now your head is in the north celestial pole, which is what, y'all? Beginnings, the great mother, the beginnings. Okay, or like you said, lotus flower, reincarnation. See, we're coming back. Not only, that's just one aspect. We're coming back. But also our head in the north means what? That we are creators. We create our own reality. We create our own situation. We can create products and services. We can create whatever we want. Okay, we are the Elohim, connotatively speaking, we are the gods. This is who you truly are if you are an autochthonous Moor. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. Thought made manifest from the soil. Thought is a function of the mind. Mind is mentalism, the law of mentalism, which is the all. So thought is the action of thinking. Okay? So it can be through imagination, through analysis, so on and so forth. This is who we truly are. And our ancestors knew that. That was the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. And that mindset has been changed through violence to the solar zodiac projection, where you become dependent on an external deity that disconnects you from nature and natural law, and have you operating on a belief system and out of fear. Okay, out of fear. Y'all see the huge contrast in both mindsets? All right, thank you. Thank you for that brilliant comment. I like it so much, I'm gonna read it again. I hope you don't mind, Lotus Flower. Physical reincarnation seems to be the issue. Some folks are stuck on the wheel of time, while others have a way of escape. Once womb men take their Stargate back, things will be different. And also she writes remnant. Okay, excellent. I really appreciate those comments. So let me put it out there again before we get started, y'all. If anyone has knowledge about the 12 houses and the solar zodiac projection, chapter 14 of our textbook here, the Astrology of the Old Testament, or the Lost Word Regained. If y'all want to come on here and teach it, contact me, let me know, all right? So the title is 12 Houses or Mansions Described, the Signification, Nature, Quality, and Description of the 12 Houses. All right, so let's go back to page 180, chapter 15 of the Signs and Meanings or Interpretations of the 12 Books, paragraph 1. Each of the signs of the zodiac is in itself a volume of information, and to become expert in their signification is to become an expert astrologer. They give signification of countries and localities, of height and measurement, of speech and language, of occupation and profession, and the description of places, the strength and weaknesses of planets as they may be posited in the different signs. So here we're dealing a lot with the moon. Okay, we're dealing a lot with the moon. Okay, now let's continue. The signs are 12 in number, answering to the 12 divisions of the zodiac. Each sign contains 30 degrees. Okay, 30 days, one day is a degree. Okay, one day is a degree. If you put this together, one day is a degree. On December 22nd, the sun fails to cast a shadow on the sundial. A shadow is not cast, a full shadow is not cast again until the very end of December 24th and the beginning of December 25th, which is Christmas Day. Then there's a full shadow cast on the sundial. Hence, the sun, the S-U-N sun, is said to have died. That's speaking metaphorically, right? because for the whole year it casts a 1 degree shadow on the sundial. Now all of a sudden from December 25th to the very end of December 24th, there's no shadow cast. So the sun must have died, because we're speaking connotatively. I'm sorry, not connotatively, we're speaking concretely is the word I want. We're describing that natural phenomena concretely. This is where you have the mythology of the sun being born, or the sun being born again. The S-U-N sun, who is, or that is in fact, the S-O-N. They're synonymous, okay? They are the same. So in other words, Jesus gets born again, all right? Or a new Jesus is born. So let's keep it going. So the signs are 12 in number, answering to the 12 divisions of the zodiac. Each sign contains 30 degrees, okay, or a 30-day month. This is significant, a 30-day month. The signs number from 1 to 12 in numerical succession, commencing at the first point of right ascension of the sun. So first point of right ascension, May 22nd or thereabout, the sun passes over, traveling northerly, passes over the celestial equator. So this is Aries, right? The first day of spring is Aries, March 22nd. The sun now enters, so here's the celestial equator, which is a projection outward of Earth's equator, which is 0 degrees. So now the sun from December 25th forward shifts direction from falling southerly to ascending northerly and crosses the celestial equator on March 22nd or thereabout, entering into the kingdom of God, right? So when the sun gets to the celestial equator, in religion, we're about to experience what's called the Passover, okay? About to experience the Passover. And what does Moses do? They slaughter, was it sheep, y'all? They slaughter sheep and put it on the doors so that the angel would not exterminate Israelite firstborn babies. Now remember what the sheep is to the Kemetic people. The sheep, this is very interesting, right? The sheep, this is what? The Lamb of God. The Lamb of God. Now here Moses comes and slaughters it. All at the same time, leading the people into the solar zodiac projection. Do y'all see it? And also remember, the sheep is Sevic Ra. Sevic Ra, which is a remix of Shut. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the last, well, go to YouTube, our other YouTube channel called North, and then you can watch the last 1 or 2 classes that I've done, and I go into Sevic Ra and how that's Aries and the 2 horns, the 2 ram's horns and all of this stuff, and then you can put it all together. It's very, very simple. You just need to be exposed to the information. So let's keep it going. Commencing at the first point of right ascension of the sun, so again, that's Aries. So Aries is going to pass above, traveling northerly, pass above the celestial equator. At that time, there's 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of light. Okay? 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of light. If that ain't fair, I don't know what is. Everybody got 12 hours. Okay, this is where the abstract notion or concept of justice comes from, and righteousness. Okay? Why justice and why righteousness? Because the sun becomes more dominant, or the sunlight becomes more dominant than the darkness. So it's said that this is the kingdom of God, right? Or JC is now sitting on his throne in the kingdom of God. Okay? Because as the sun climbs northerly, so we're every day into spring, into summer, the sun is reaching a higher and higher elevation, and so the number of hours of daylight are increasing, and the number of hours of night are decreasing. Now remember, night has been remixed under the solar projection to be something evil, a time when evil things happen. Okay, so the light is dominating, is ruling. And on June 22nd, the sun reaches its highest elevation in the sky, or in the celestial sky, and it's still way lower in elevation than the pole star. Don't even come close. But the sun reaches its highest elevation in the northern part of space. This is called the summer solstice. Okay? In other words, the number of daylight hours have reached its maximum number during the year. Okay? So this is the day that has the greatest number of hours that are light and the least number of hours that are nighttime hours. Okay? After June 25th, the sun begins to move southward. The sun begins to change directions and move southward. Okay, and now the nights are getting longer and the days are shorter. And then on September 22nd or thereabout, the sun will cross below the celestial equator. So I should have mentioned this. So at the summer solstice, the sun takes on the title of Christ, Christos. So when the sun crosses below the celestial equator at the autumn equinox, Christ is crucified. Christ is crucified. See, there's a difference between Christ and Jesus. Christ is a title, Jesus is a name. Christ gets crucified, okay, on September 22nd or thereabout. This is the end of the reign of the kingdom of heaven. So spring all the way into the beginning of fall, this is the kingdom of heaven where the sunlight hours are greater than the nighttime hours. When the sun crosses below the celestial equator on September 22nd or thereabout, now the sun is where it has entered into hell. People rob and steal when it's dark. All the evil things happen when it's dark. Do y'all see what's happening here? This is where good and evil, the concepts of good and evil come from. The concept of light being good, the kingdom of God, and night and dark, black, being evil. Okay, y'all? That's where it comes from. Hence, you see the checker floor in the Freemasonic pictures, meaning good versus evil. This is why people who are pale, the pale hybrid, is said to be good and godly, and the dark Moor is said to be black, wicked, and evil. Do y'all see it? So what did they do? They put a connotative meaning on black and then applied it to us, right? But of course, dark is absolute light, and dark is eternal. It's pure energy, pure spirit, whereas light is material. We learn that in the Celestial Ship of the North on page 14 and page 9. Okay, let me check the comments and then we're going to go back into this. I just wanted to orient everyone uh, about the basic mechanics of the solar astrological projection. Lotus Flower writes, many thanks for your scholarship. Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much, Lotus Flower L. It's my pleasure. Okay, so let's get back into this. Now the sun, I forgot. So each day represents, each day equals 1 degree, and then the sun sun itself is said to be 3 degrees. So this is the solution to Christ beginning his ministry at 30 years of age. 1 day, 1 degree. Okay? And then his ministry ends at 3 degrees. Okay? So the sun will enter, pass through, and exit one zodiac sign, and then the sun itself is 3 degrees. So that's 33, and then it will enter into and exit the next zodiac sign until it goes through the whole course, the whole Maserat, the whole Zoad, okay, in its annual course, and then of course that's at an annual scale. It happens at 3 different levels annually. Then we have the zodiacal age, right, and then we have the great year. Okay. So anyway, let's keep it going. So the right ascension, y'all, begins at Aries and begins with Aries, the Passover, and it ends when the sun begins to fall. Okay, summer solstice. Okay. So at the first point of right ascension of the sun, there's 0 degrees. 0 degrees is the celestial equator. Okay, 0 minutes of Aries, or the ram, and continuing to 30 degrees of Aries, we reach Taurus, the bull, or Bel, or Baal. This is why scholars at Strong's number, Hebrews 1180, you will see that Baali is a symbolical name for the Tetragrammaton, Jehovah, Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahoo, whatever you want to call it, because we're dealing with celestial matters. Okay, the constellation Taurus, the bull, and then the sun being in that constellation, which takes us back to the Ta cross with Apis the bull, Taurus the bull, okay? Spring being beginning at that time, when if you look to the left at not the left, if you look to the east on the first day of spring, about 5:30 in the morning, 5:30 a.m. on the first day of spring, let's say that's March 22nd or thereabout, you look to the east and you will see Taurus at the horizon, signaling, telling you that the zodiacal age is Taurus. Okay? But our ancient ancestors began the year, we got confirmation of this, also in the Celestial Ship of the North. Our ancestors began the year at the harvest. At the harvest, okay? At the harvest. Which would be the contract or the covenant of grace. Everything's given to you as a birthright. So that means you have an inheritance. Didn't have to work for anything. Okay? See, this is the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers that we were taken out of when we were shifted through violence into the mindset of the solar zodiac projection, these solar religions. Okay? Now the focus is on what? Spring. Spring, which is a covenant of labor, the covenant of debt. All right? The covenant of work. I don't know about y'all, but I want the covenant of grace. Okay, I want my birthright, full possession and enjoyment of it. So let's continue. This is called the first sign. Oh, this is exactly what I was talking about. Commencing at the first point of right ascension of the sun, meaning 0 degrees or the first minute of Aries, and continuing until 30 degrees of Aries, we reach Taurus. 30 degrees and the sun is 3 degrees. We reach Taurus, the bull or Bel or Baali. This is also called the first sign. Okay, so the first sign is what the author is telling us, Aries. Gemini, or the twins, is the second sign. So Gemini is coming after Aries. So the sun will enter into Aries, and then next it'll enter into Gemini, okay? Then the third sign is Cancer, or the crab. The fourth is Leo, or the lion. The fifth is Virgo, or the sealed virgin. Of course, Virgo is the celestial mother typhoon, remixed, okay? The original sign being that made, so I'm going to show y'all this. This is the original sign of Virgo. Remember, Virgo was originally Virgo Scorpio, okay? And at the fall of man, Virgo Scorpio were separated. Okay, they were separated. And then you have Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. So let's go back to the text. The fourth is Leo, or the lion. The fifth is Virgo, or the sealed virgin. Why is the virgin sealed? The original sign of Virgo being, I just showed y'all. Let me do it again so everyone have this clear in your mind. Okay, so that first sign is after Virgo Scorpio has been broken apart. And look at where my fingers are pointing. The sign on the bottom line, well, the bottom finger, that's Virgo Scorpio. Okay? Then the sixth sign is Libra, which is Libra. The scales, or equal measure. So of course this is also Ma'at, right? The seventh sign is Scorpio, or the serpent. Now of course the serpent is a remix because the Great Mother was actually represented as a serpent, okay? So this is something that has been made negative in the solar zodiac projection. So now we're getting, see, we are discovering the change in the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. A serpent to them was wisdom and everything good. It was the Great Mother, right? Beginnings, rebirths, or reincarnations, transformations, okay? I'm gonna create, so I transform. Now the serpent is something evil. So this is why the prophet Noble Drew Ali told us to return to that ancient to that mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. He also said the half has not been told. So for those of you who may feel some kind of way about me speaking the way I'm speaking about the solar zodiac projection, so let's continue. So the eighth is Sagittarius, the archer, or centaur. The ninth is Capricorn, or the goat. Actually, it's a sea goat, right? It's a goat with a tail, with the fish tail. The 10th, Aquarius. Of course, Aquarius is an hermaphrodite. Or let me rephrase that. It's sexually neutral. Okay? Androgynous is the word I want. Aquarius is androgynous. Aquarius is the water bearer. The 11th zodiac sign is Pisces, the fishes. So they're two fish connected by a rope, by a string that has great significance. And we have made the circuit and returned to 0, or the 12th sign of Aries. So some people will count Aries as 0, others will count Aries as the first sign. Aries the ram or a lamb. Now, as each of these signs rules over different divisions of the universe. By the way, y'all, universe, U-N-I-V-E-R-S-E, universe, I-verse. I'm the universe. I'm a function of the mind. I'm thought, which is a function of the mind. The universe exists in the mind of the all. All right, each of these signs rule over different divisions of the universe, over different countries and peoples, over different directions. And as every planet is alike geologically, and like the great eternal central orb, that would be the sun, y'all, the S-U-N sun, that made them. See, here, another obvious and extreme change in the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. The Great Mother produced first the Great Bear, today the Big Dipper. And this is the source of everything. Y'all see it? Source of everything. Under the solar zodiac projection, they're saying that the S-U-N sun is the source of everything. But what does the Great Mother tell us? Now, y'all, don't get spicy. I don't know how people are feeling, but don't get spicy because of the information I'm sharing. All right, I didn't make any of this up. If you've been invested in the solars, if you are an astrologist or you're invested in the solar zodiac projection or any of the solar religions, don't take this as me attacking you, because I'm not. Okay, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said the half has not been told. Okay, and I just so happen to be, maybe there are other people who are teaching this, I don't know, but I'm the only one that I know of. And I just so happen to be the one who's, that I know about, who's bringing this information back to us so we can take it if we want it. And we can take back the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers if we want it. So on page 9 of the Celestial Ship of the North, volume 1, this is what it reads. At Sais, this was a location, a name given to a location by the Egyptians. This is Mount Zion. This is the Celestial Ship of the North. This is the North Celestial Pole. You can read it. Start on page 9. At Sais, this is the Great Mother Typhoon, the Celestial Ship of the North, was bespangled with stars. And there she gave her mystic message, I am. I am. I am. I am all there is. I am all that have been. I am all that will forever be, and my veil no mortal have drawn aside. The fruit that I brought forth was the S-U-N sun. So the Great Mother made the sun. And now they're disrespecting the Great Mother Y'all see the remix? They're saying that the sun made everything. Okay, so this is in opposition to the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. Y'all see page 9? Hope y'all can see it. Here it is here. The fruit that I brought forth was the sun, was the S-U-N sun. Okay? Now these solarites, people who push the sun, the solar zodiac projection, they're saying that the sun made everything, which is in opposition or contrary to the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, okay? We didn't know anything about this. Okay, y'all. So let's keep it going. Where was it? But to what extent did our ancient ancestors, to what extent is the solar zodiac information new relative to the, and I guess what I'm trying to say is, what, if any, part or portion of the solar zodiac today did our ancient ancestors use in the circumpolar zodiac projection? See, in other words, did they take information from the solar zodiac projection and then remix it, or did they make all of this stuff up and just add names? And so I don't know. I don't know what the mix is, but I'm hopeful it will come to me. Okay, I'm hopeful to be able to find or get that knowledge. So let's go back to page 81. All right, so the 12 signs rule over different divisions of the universe, over different countries and peoples, over different directions, north, south, east, and west, right? And as every planet is alike geologically, now remember, well, I'll come back to that later, and like the great eternal celestial orb that made them, he who alone rules the heavens and all the host of them, as every planet is endowed with immense magnetic or electromagnetic powers, and in its return sheds its magnetism on the other planets. Well, that only makes sense, right? The aggregate electromagnetic energy from all the planets, of course they're going to have an impact. Okay, large affecting smaller, and they are all in turn, everything upon them or within their magnetism, and imparting to those beings and things upon them certain magnetic qualities by induction. And as these planets are stronger in some parts or signs than others, it is of great wisdom to know such signs and parts and places. Man being, he's saying what I just said. Man being a universe in himself and capable of great magnetic powers by which to attract or repel others. He's talking about the law of manifestation, right? What is he also talking about? He's also talking about the collective consciousness of a people. So if collectively people are harming one another, directly or indirectly, the author is saying that that's going to manifest itself. Okay? The laws of the universe, the laws of nature, the law of cause and effect, will cause that harm to become the reality that the people are living under. And that's how we as a people got to where we are. But that's also how we as a people will get out of that. The return to the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. This is what Noble Drew Ali told us. But now we understand it. Why that's so, we understand it according to natural law. All right? The laws that govern the universe. Okay? In other words, the astronomical, well, let me leave it at that. The laws that govern the universe. Okay, so man is also ruled by these signs in the 12 divisions in his body, corresponding to the 12 divisions of the Zodiac, as per the annex drawing, which I shall carefully explain, and which you must commit to memory. So let me see if I can find that for y'all. If I remember correctly, this is different. The drawing that he gives here is different than the drawing that we get from C.M. Bay. So, but I go with C.M. Bay. I give full faith and credit to C.M. Bay. Because he got his, well, one, because he's my brother, he's my blood. So I don't put a foreigner before my blood. And then two, he got his info from Noble Drew Ali. So this is the image of Adam Kadmon. So let me try to find it, y'all. Or in other words, a perfect man. So they're different, or they're two different images. I don't know. I have no reason to think that they are different. So let me show you. Maybe. No, I don't see it. So this is the Adam Kadmon image. You know, the famous Leonardo da Vinci image. So let me. I thought oh no. The image. So it's not in this book. The image in C.M. Bay's image is different from the images that I saw on the internet. That's what I meant to say. So let's go to Clock of Destiny, Volume 1. I think it's in Volume 1. And if I remember correctly, well, let me not speak. Let me just go there so I don't have to correct myself. Hold on, y'all. Here we are. Okay, so on C.M. Bay's Clock of Destiny, Volume 1, beginning on page 22, the heading reads, Interpretation of the SUN Sun and the 12 signs of the Zodiac involving human characteristics. and monthly activity. All right, so you notice that number 1 is Aries, the head. I remember somebody, I don't remember who it was. Number 2 is Gemini. I remember someone put a comment when I mentioned these. They put a comment that they told me that they are an astrologer and they never heard anything like this. You know, implying that I was making stuff up. So do y'all see it? Now this one is the sun. The sun in each of these zodiac signs, okay? On an annual basis, so monthly, 30 days, 30 degrees, okay? As it has to do with characteristics, of course, human, replace that with man. So y'all gonna have to get the book. I don't wanna knock my stuff off the table, my glasses off the table if you can't see it. So pause it on the replay if you wanna read this. But you can download this from enforcetheconstitution.org. It's free, okay? And they haven't been tampered with. Okay, pause it on the replay. So you can download it, go to enforcetheconstitution.org, and then click on study materials, all right? Study materials. And then you can get this for yourself. Now, let's also look at the intellectual zodiac, the interpretation of the moon in the 12 signs, okay? So there are 2. Okay, so the sun and then the moon in the 12 signs. So this is on page 25. It begins on page 25. All right, now y'all can download this on enforcetheconstitution.org, which is where I got it from. Okay, which is where I got it from. I can't see it because I'm looking from the back. Okay, y'all? Anyway, there it is. So y'all just go ahead and download this and you can learn everything you want to know. Okay? All right. You can pause it on the replay to read it. All right, so let's go back to page 181 in our textbook for this class. So next paragraph, Aries head, the bull is the neck, Gemini the arms and hands, Cancer the breast and lungs, Leo the lion the breast or the lower part of the breast, the back and heart, liver and spleen, Virgo the stomach and intestines, Libra the bladder, womb, navel button and abdomen, Scorpio the secrets, fundament and scrotum. Sagittarius, the thighs and buttocks, Capricorn, the knees and all joints and ears, Aquarius, the legs from knees to ankles, and then Pisces, the feet, heels and toes. So let me show y'all that. Okay? Does everybody see that? It's page 181. Pause it on the replay to read it. Okay, Aries or the ram or lamb, where the sun commences the right ascension, well, the capital R, capital A, or right ascension, is the beginning and end of the years as formally reckoned. Do y'all hear that? The S-U-N sun. Let me repeat that. Aries, or the ram, or lamb, where the S-U-N sun commences, where it begins the right ascension, where it passes over the celestial equator and enters into the kingdom of God. Christ is sitting on his throne, okay, is the beginning and end of the years, plural, years as formally reckoned. The sun appears in this point on the 22nd of March yearly, at which time the S-U-N sun passes over the line or equinox or equator. This is the Passover. Or watery division. Okay, what's the watery division? End of winter, the water is melting. Beginning of spring, okay? So the sun passes over the equinox or equator, celestial equator, or watery division, emerging from winter into spring, and is represented as springing up, ascending, right? Springing up, northerly, ascending from the water and bringing new life to the earth. The water, the snow melting, right? And bringing new life to earth. Okay, also recorded in, I think it's Matthew, there's a bright light that's like really flashing, getting on my nerves, well, actually giving me a headache. Let me switch, turn my back to it. So this is also involving the gospel story of Jesus turning water into wine. Okay, we'll get into that again a little bit later, but you can find out about that. Just read the Devil's Pulpit. So where am I? Oh, okay. So it is the gate of gold. So Aries is the gate of gold. Of course it's the gate of gold, right? Because the sun is gold. And the daylight hours will now dominate the day. So it's the gate of gold. Okay? Gate of gold. Or capital O-R, is due east sign, and knowledge came, listen to this, y'all, and knowledge came from where the light which dispels the darkness came from the O-R, hyphen I, hyphen int. In other words, Orient, represented by Ab-Ram, A-B hyphen R-A-M viz, Ab, original or first man. Original or first man. Capital R, period, capital A, period, capital M, period, or the original first right ascension meridian. Do y'all see that ram? Ab, original ram, right ascension meridian, which is remixed in the Bible as Abram, who later becomes Abraham, Ham, Hamite, Camite, and then Cam or Camite, when the solar zodiac projection had been forced in by violence, they changed the K to an S, and this is where you get the origin of Semite. But if you look up Semite in the Sanskrit, you're going to see that Semite refers to a monster, and a monster in law is a human, and human is a contracted form of Han Uman. the half monkey, half man created creature that Cian talks about in the Clock of Destiny. This is the Yaqub story, okay? The created creature that Yaqub and his 12 feminine co-scientists produced during their animalistic experimentations recorded in the Bible at Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27. This is the Neanderthal. Okay, this is the Paleolithic caveman. This is the troglodyte nigger. Okay? Give me 1 second. Let me take a look at these comments. One moment, y'all. Lotus Flower L writes, Seaman L has a great chart as well. If you get a chance, can you send me a link to it or put the link to the video? I would love to see it. So let me show y'all what I'm reading from. Page 182. So now, this book was published in 1857. Published in 1857. And he is a high level, or was a high level Freemason, and if I remember correctly, Rosicrucianist. That's how he got this knowledge. Okay, so, or the original first right ascension of Meridian, or man from the east who spoke a language which all knew in the lands through which he traveled till he got into Egypt, viz. the Escheat Sun language. Do y'all understand that? The Escheat Sun language, that means there's a vocabulary, there's a grammar, and then there's a syntax. You can control perception and behavior through language. In the beginning was a word. Okay? The language of what, y'all? The language of signs. Now, we know this is not true. Well, let me take that back. He didn't say that this was the beginning of the language of signs. So when I said it's not true, I thought he meant the beginning of language and signs, okay? All right, y'all? So this is clearly talking about the introduction of the solar zodiac projection. In other words, the change, the violent change of the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers from the circumpolar zodiac projection, the ship of the north, to the solar zodiac projection, which is what everybody knows now. Okay, they created a whole language. Let me show y'all something. Do I want to do this? The original right ascension, or meridian, or man from the east. Now go back to C.M. Bay's work, Clock of Destiny, Volume 2, page 38. The original man from the east, who spoke a language which all knew in the lands through which he traveled, navigation, right, till he got into Egypt. There's a lot in that, y'all. There's a lot in that, especially not just the mind in the east, in the solar zodiac projection, in solar religion, and the punishments for that, for living out of harmony with nature. People, that might sound crazy to y'all, right? Because the sun traces the seasons. But that's not, and I want to emphasize this, This is not the way our ancestors, our ancient ancestors, reckon time. It's not how they live their life. It's a different mindset. In other words, it's a different paradigm. And it's new. Anyway, Aries is sanguine, hot and moist. Aries is a fiery sign, vernal, or the first sign of the spring quarter. This is why JC, the Christ figure, says, "Verily, verily, verily, I say unto you." He was saying springtime, spring, 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 spring. Okay, hinting at natural phenomena. Aries is a masculine, diurnal, and hot sign. It is boreal, septentrional, or northern, because it declines from the equinoctial northward. It is a movable and cardinal sign, or equinoctial sign. It is a luxurious, intemperate, and violent sign. Well, how about that? How about that? It's a violent sign. So on one level, it's violent because Christianity, these solar religions, have waged war. What government or who or what organization have been more violent, recorded violence, war and violence through, violence through institutions. Who has been more violent than Christianity? Christ sits on his throne, and there's nothing but violence everywhere. Doesn't the New Testament say that you know a tree by its fruits? Christ sitting on his throne, and there's nothing but violence. What about the violence done to us through public policy under the authority, the government of these Christians? Look at the black codes. Look at children and family services. Look at the policy enforcers. All of these are supposed to be what? Christians, Christian organizations, Christian brotherhoods. Y'all see what I'm saying? Yeah, definitely violence. The diseases incident to this sign, the diseases associated to Aries, are all pushes, whelks, pimples in the face, smallpox, hair lips, polyps, ringworms, falling sickly or epilepsy, apoplexies, megrims, toothache, headache, baldness, and any trouble in the head. Any trouble in the head, y'all? Any trouble in the head. So does that include psychological problems? Does that include having eyes to see but you can't perceive? Having ears to hear but you cannot understand? Does that include that, y'all? The curse that JC put on the masses of people who followed them? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Mark chapter 4, where the apostles came to JC and said, "Why do you speak to the people in parables? Why do you speak to the people in riddles?" And he says, so that although having eyes to see, they cannot perceive. Although having ears to hear, they won't be able to ever understand any of these riddles that I'm telling them. And then he tells you why. He said, because if they ever perceived what they were seeing, if they ever understood what they are hearing, they would have an opportunity to repent and be saved. So JC just told you right there, he does not want you to repent and he doesn't want you to be saved. Well, what are we talking about in commerce? He wants you to be a debtor. He wants you to be a stateless person, a refugee, a person who has no nationality, no constitutional or treaty protections. He wants you to be at the mercy of those who are taking the position as creditors. Do y'all see? We're right back at Deuteronomy chapter 28, the curses. And what else? See and beg. As I mentioned before, Clock of Destiny, Volume 2, page 38. When the Moor is lying down, he is in a dead state with his head in Aries. As a matter of fact, I got to show it. With his head in Aries. Opened it right up to the page. Y'all pause this on the replay and read that. Opened it right up to the page. Pause it on the replay. He's dead. He's civilly dead. Okay? He has no constitution or treaty protections. Okay? He's Goyim. Genesis chapter 1. Literally, chattel property. Okay, chattel property, debt, a debtor. Okay, the living sacrifice. All right, y'all, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, y'all, looks like they're about to close, I guess, but I'm gonna wait until they tell me to leave. Maybe they don't close until 10 or 10:30. I don't remember. But anyway, let's keep it going. Give me 1 second. Okay. So Aries is anything that causes trouble in the head. Okay, Mark chapter 4, as I mentioned, that's trouble in the head, right? CM Bay says if you're, hold on, let me see. Let me read that. Let me read this comment, y'all. All right. So Lotus Flower L writes, above is a link to some of his lectures. He's one who introduced CM Bay to many. Oh, really? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so next paragraph. It is significant of hills where sheep and small cattle are fed or kept. This is Aries, y'all. Of barren or sandy grounds, unfrequented places, places of refuge or for thieves. So this would be likened to the cities of refuge in the Bible, in the Old Testament. In houses, it denotes the covering or ceilings or plastering, a pen where small beasts are kept. Okay, like a pig pen. Very interesting, a pig pen. Of lands, it signifies those newly taken in or newly plowed through. Wow. And being fiery, it denotes a place where bricks or lime are burned rather. In trades and professions, it denotes lawyers, engineers of locomotives, dentists, and dealers in chemicals. So all of these things have, I think, what's in common, something hot. And those trades or professions wherein much head work is required. Head work, thinking. Right? Troubles of the head. Trust me, you can have a lot of troubles of the head if your profession calls you to think and make decisions all the time, especially when you're not doing your job, or if you're incompetent. Okay, the sign Aries on the ascendant, or describing any person without any planet being posited in the house, denotes one of medium stature, lean or spare, but of strong bones and limbs, of a long visage, generally black eyebrows, a long neck, and thick shoulders, with a dusky brown or swarthy color. Swarthy is dark, is copper color, y'all. The color of this sign is white mixed with red. The color of this sign is, what is white mixed with red? Is that pink? We'll come back to it maybe next class. For it is one of the signs of Jacob or Israel. For it is one of the sons, rather, of Jacob or Israel is Reuben. For Jacob says in Genesis XLIX, verse 3 and 4, quote unquote, Reuben, thou art my firstborn, end quote, etc., and plainly describes the lasciviousness of the goats. It is a bestial or quadrupedal sign and signifies that the person born under such sign has something of an animal nature of the goat, Well, wait a minute. Christ is said to be the Lamb of God. Christ was born on December 25th. December 25th is a goat fish. So we're dealing with all of this violence, right? This heated, and people who got, the heated means anger or stress, the way I'm interpreting this, okay? Somebody got a problem with their head. You mean Christians? JC, the historical Christ figure? Trouble in the head? Bestial or quadrupedal sign, and signifies that the person born under this sign has something of a animal nature of the goat. Let's talk about JC, the Christ figure, who is the Lamb of God, born on December 25th, which is Capricorn. The character of this sign is rash, hardy, resolved, lascivious, and combative. Well, that certainly describes Christianity. Damn sure describes the Pope. In the New Testament, this sign answers to Mark 4. Having eyes to see but can't perceive, and ears to hear but will never understand, so that they can never repent and never be saved. Makes total sense. From being the favorite house of Mars, it's war, right? And he was originally represented by the Roman Catholics as a cock. From his boastful and combative qualities, and also because of his springing up, denoting springtime. So now, I always talk about the Bible being a book of encoded messages. There's one message for the people who are for the masses who are on the outside of the house, the followers and the worshipers. There's a whole other message in the same verse for the people who are on the inside of the house, who are the secret society members, who are being groomed for rulership or who are ruling. Okay, it's very sinister, very diabolical. The name of the angle or angel of Aries is Mal-Shidayo. Of the 12 prophets, it represented Malachi. Of months, March. Of stones, Sardonius. Of man, the head. The sign or Aries is made from the eyebrows and nose thus. Do y'all see that? Most people think that it's a ram's head, but it's actually, look at my finger, it's actually both eyebrows and the nose connected. And I do remember reading somewhere, I have to find this and we go over it again, that Aries was not in the original Zodiac. It was injected in. And on top of that, you can add that there are only 3 degrees in the authentic Masonry. The other 30 were added in by the Christians, okay, to promote the solar zodiac projection and their religion. Even Dr. Ben, I watched a video where Dr. Ben is talking about how the Christians added all of this Christianity into the original Masonry. Of the 12 apostles, Aries represents Matthias of plants, Sang, S-A-N-G. Aries is the diurnal house of Mars. The sun, the Eschuan sun, is exalted in 19 degrees of Aries, the Lamb. Even as saith the gospel, quote unquote, I have exalted thee, O Father, Wow. Aries is the day triplicity of the Eschuan sun, and the night triplicity of Jupiter. The first 6 degrees of Aries are the terms of Jupiter. From 6 to 14 degrees inclusive, the terms of Venus. Venus is remixed into the Great Mother. Of course, Jupiter is one of the gods that were made up before there were planets. So that these gods were remixed into planets. From 14 to 21 inclusive, the terms of Mercury. From 21 to 26 inclusive, the terms of Mars. And from 26 to 30, the terms of Saturn. Its first face, or first 10 degrees, is the face of Mars and shows boldness, strength, magnanimity, unselfishness, resolution, and confidence. So, of course, these are the qualities of a good soldier, right? So let's stop right there, y'all. We'll pick it up on page 83, the very last paragraph. I'm going to leave because I see them cleaning and getting ready to go. I'm sure they want to go home. Assalamu alaikum, Islam to all the Moors. I, self, law, and master. So everyone, I hope that this is helpful for you to return to the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. Shalom.